Ladies and gentlemen, no, nke a bụ nke anyị na-akpọ Soludometer. That is the program whereby anyị chọọ iwepụta Soludo ka anyị dissect anya ka anyị nenekwa anụ government ya for the past 3 years na Anambra State so that we will know if he has done well. Omegokwa ife isi ya mee ka ihe ọ na-eme abụrụ ife isi ya mee. Onya ka isi ka anyị pụta ka anyị kọwata alụ unu n'efifia. Welcome. This podcast is powered by Voice of the East and Advocacy Group. Governor Soludo has been governor of Anambra State for the past 3 years. I say kaitinye kene government ya na onyokomita ka inene kene ya ka ima mo ifa iku ka ineme ka anya rapolo uzo gbaba ime ofia. Igotago so no. I encourage you to buckle up and grab a popcorn or something. If obuna na-enye go obi anwule ka relax ya ka anyị wee banye na anya bụ okwu. Igotago anyị ga-check, anyị ga-enyocha, anyị ga-imago anyị ga-check nya bụ ife ofuma. Only the kwano kai drag ya mmadụ like a tiger generator ma ọbụlụ Gen Z. Igotago anyị ya drag kwa onya ifugie. So ọbụrụ kwa sọsọ m ya akpanya bụ nkata na efifia. Enwere 2 very important guests with me na efifia. Ha ga-enyelu m aka ka anyị nyocha anya bụ nkata. Igotago ndị kwe na ndị ekwero. Anyị makwa ihe melụ ndị kwenu ji wee kwe. Anyị enekwa n'anya wee malụ ife melụ ndị ekwero ji hapụ ekwe. Igotago gentlemen ngwanụ ka anyị malụ no nwoke ọma biko kekwa n'afa gị o
afa m bụ Chijioke Eruchalo ejike nga n'ogbu amalụ
no nwanne m nwoke ka anyị matakwanụ ngị nwa o
afa m bụ Uche Okoye abụ onye agụ aka local government area of Anambra State
no ifugie na anyị nwelu ndị ụlọ ana anyị zikwalu na-ezu afa m nwa na-ekwukwa na ọbụ nneọma anyị na-asị gị nnọọ o ka anyị nye onye bụ ife ụmụnne m biko nụ achọrọ m ka anyị bido onye bụ okwu ife ndị oyibo na-akpọ rating ịghọtago ka anyị rate kene onye bụ gọọmenti ka anyị rate enya from 1 to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 how do you think the governor has done?
M ga-enye 8 over 10.
8 over 10.
And I'm going to reason.
Ngwachalo before you nye reason. Nwanne m nwoke Uche biko from 1 to 10 where do you rate our governor?
Well, if you ask me, I'm going to rate him 4 over 10.
4 over 10.
Yes.
8 over 10, 4 over 10. You think it's good?
Magnanimous enough.
Magnanimous enough for 10. But you said 8.
Yes.
Ngwa this no 8 over 10. Before we get to Uche. Kedu Fiji we say no 8 over 10?
I'm onye Anambra. Anwụrụ n'Ọka.
Okay.
Bụ state capital. Nto n'Ọka.
Okay.
Ọ agụ mahadum. Mere m ji wee si Anambra wee pụọ nchanja.
Okay.
Wee jefe ana nna m. Nọtụ obele ebe m fela na nna m ka m fechara na m wee natakwa na-eme biznes na alụrụ na Anambra.
Okay.
Mụ na Anambra, New Anambra bụ ọgbọ.
Okay.
So ka m na-eto ka ọ na-eto.
Okay.
Ọ nọ ka onye gị na-abụ ọgbọ. Ọ na-eto, ị na-eto, ị ga na-ele onye agha anya. Ị malụ ma onye agha na-etokwa eto n'ife o kwesịrị na-eme. Ọ na-anachi ya azụ ka ọ kwụ ofu ebe. M ga-akọwa ife mmiri. M ga-ebugoro ụzọ wee kwuo kedu ebe anyị nọ mgbe Soludo bata ya na kedu ebe anyị nọ kịta.
Ngwa kọwalụ na anyị kọwalụ m o.
Ọ bụ na ị ga-agwa onwe anyị eziokwu. I will quote him by his words. Na Anambra nwere very huge infrastructural deficit.
Okay.
Okay.
Mgbe
ọ bata o ji wee kwuo na one of the first things ọ ga-eme bụ declare state of emergency on the roads of Anambra. Maka ọ bụ na ị na-eme ife ọbụla ebe ọbụla ọ bụ na nwere ụzọ isi aga ebe ahụ nwere ọkwa ife ị ga-eme ọ ga-atọ sọsọ n'ukwu ọnụ ịma njem nwere ebe ahụ maka ịma nwa ọfịa wee jee ebe ahụ. O bidogodo ọ bụ na asị ka a calculate total kilometer length of roads Soludometer award from 17th of March till today. Mụ na gị nọ ọ dị over 700. Ya bụ the highest any governor of Anambra State since eji wee nwee fa na-akpọ New Anambra till today mego within the first 3 years onye anji wee bụrụ governor. And ọ na-achọ ọsọ complete over 400 kita.
Out of the 700.
Out of the 700.
Okay.
And all of them are ongoing, almost simultaneously. And alone na fan niile. The entire 700 women award. Nke ahụ acha. Ọ bụ na ebe ife na-aga ọfụma. Onye ọbụla lugo 34 years.
Okay.
Mmadụ.
Okay.
Ekwesịghị inwe ụlọ nke ya.
Ụlọ nke ya?
Yes. Ebe ife na-aga ọfụma.
Okay.
Ọsọkwa ya bụ ụlọ ebe egoro ego na-akwụbiri ụgwọ ya akwụbiri. Na ọ bụrụ na onye ahụ kwụchala ụgwọ ya ofu oge. Anambra State enwere government house.
Mana Soludo alụgonu.
Ọ lụchabe.
Mana anyị afụgo.
Anambra enwere government house. Ebe anyị ji mere government house bụ ụlọ alụkọnata ndị oyibo na-akpọ makeshift. Ndị lụrụ dị Enugu Onitsha expressway bi ya mgbe a na-alụ ha.
Ị na-ekwu mgbe niile Anambra na-ele exist.
Yes.
Government house.
Anyị nwere Governor's Lodge. Ebe bụ Governor's Lodge bụ old Judge's Lodge of the old Anambra State bụ present day part of Ebonyi, Enugu, and the new Anambra. The Judge's quarters for the Awka High Court. Ebe HUMN Governor's Lodge. Deputy Governor a na-akwụli ya rent. Mgbe ọ bụla eji nwekwa deputy governor ọfụ eje chọkwa ụlọ na-akwụli ya ụgwọ.
Anyị na-akọwata na ndị niile chibugoro Anambra before Soludo.
Otu aka ọ dị.
Deputy fa niile anyị nọ na-akwụrụ fụ rent.
A na-akwụli ya rent. Nke chi before Soludo bụ Dr. Nkem Okeke bụ deputy governor Willie Obianọ. Obi na Ngozi Ekere steeti ebe a nke a na-akwụli ya ụgwọ ụlọ.
Steeti na-akwụli ya ụgwọ.
Yes. Onye nke nọkịta na-abụ onye Ekibezim. Obi na one of the private buildings dị close to ebe a na-akpọ commissioner's quarters. Ebe a na-abụrụkwa commissioner's quarters. Ebe a bụ staff quarters old Anambra State College of Education. A wee gbanwee ya.
Governor Soludo na-alụ ya.
Yes. Ọ bụrụ na a na-alụ from the scratch maka bungalow ka ọ bụ before all na.
Ya ebido n'isi.
Ebido n'isi na-alụgharị ha nche niile, a na-alụzi fa nche niile n'elu. Enye contract elu 17. Ọ kwesịrị ịdị 21. Ka ọ lụgoro 17 na-alụsị ya. Ọ kwesịrị ịkali 21 maka na ebe ahụ ka chief of staff bụkwa member of the State Deputy Council ma SSG fa kwesịrị ịnwụ ụlọ ebe ahụ maka ọkpọ ka ịkpọ fasifa bịa lụọ ọrụ. O nwere ebe ha nọ ha nwere ụlọ nke ha ịkpọghasị ha bịa lụọ ọrụ. Ọ bụrụ ngwa maka ọ dịrị ịbịa chọba ebe fa ga-anọ n'ọlụ ịkpọ ha sị ha rapụ ife ha na-eme maka ha nwere ndị nye bụ kọmishọna nwesịrị ọrụ fa na-alụ bifo ha wee bụ kọmishọna ana ọ bụrụ fancha na-ebi ebi n'Ọka ha wee bịa n'ọrụ ikwesị nye ebe fa ga-anọ ha wee na-alụghalị ebe ahụ. Anambra State Government House ị na-ekwu okwu Soludo na-alụ ya bụ project Chinwoke Mbanuju bido in the year 2001.
Mgbari.
Yes.
Ka ebido onye bụ okwu.
Yes. E wee mee ya abandon in 2002. O wee take until 2022, 20 years after. Ebe ahụ bụ akaka ọfịa. So they wee bata. Wee sị, a ga-continue na-akwụ rent. Ebe anyị nwere ebe ọ ga-aba ịlụtọpụ. Akwụsị ịkwụ rent. Ewebido elu government house. Nke a na-acha. Mma na-eme ya. Mmemme the 4 major urban areas enwe na Anambra.
Nwanyela anyị aka ka igbuo ya nkenke maka na achọkwara m ka uche gwa anyị mere o ji wee sị m ọfọ.
Mmetụsị fancha niile aka. O nwere ebe a na-akpọ ụmụ bụ indigenous of Awka. 80% of ndị bi ebe ahụ bụ indigenous of Awka ka ha bụ. Maka Awka bụgoro state capital. Ọ bụ mmadụ ka ọ bụ before wee bụrụ state capital. Ebe ahụ mmiri zoo ịma mgbe gburu ebe ahụ.
Ebe ị na-ahịa gbasịta.
Mana ebe ahụ bụ part of state capital. And ebe ahụ ọ bụgo state capital. Ebe ọ bụ part of state capital anyị ọnọgo for 34 years wee dị etu ahụ. Mana jee ebe ahụ nkịta ọ na-abụ mmiri ozo na-akpakụ. Ndị bi ebe ahụ na-akpakụ otu fa ga-esi wee bi ndụ. Oge ahụ mmiri ga na-ezo. Mana jee ebe ahụ nkịta anya. The story abụrụzi the same. Fa ga-anọgbu ebe ahụ comfortably. Ma nwere ife ga-eme. Soludo ga-enyekwu kọntraktị ịlụghalị ebe ahụ were ya nye construction company bụ onye ọka bụ ife nwe a na-akpọ MP infrastructure ka ọ na-enye the contract ọ sịfa onwe ife n'elu ọ nwanne nwoke ka nyere ya chechiri ya ka ọ ghara ịdị ka ewere ya nye onye isi ọ na-eme na ọ bụrụ nwanne ụlọ nwere ife gbasara ya
onye nke unu jee n'azụ na unu ajụ onye ife
unu ajụ onye ka ife na-eme nke a na-acha enwere places kwesịrị emepe n'Awka. Awka bụ steeti capital o kwesịrị ịbụ ofu steeti ịgasịkwa narị ebe ọ bụrụ steeti capital ndị na-abata ebe kafa ga-ebigasị ebi m Isuani Ọcha dị n'Awka North Local Government and Awka North Local Government the part of the 4 local governments that make up Awka Capital Territory. Ọ na-take him about 30 minutes isi ebe mbi wee pụta n'ebe bụ the heart of the town. But on the normal, o kwesịrị take up to 10 minutes. Kedu ife mere ya? Ụzọ adịrọ. Ọkwa ndị mmadụ ga-ebi ebe ahụ oge ọbụla onye ọbụla enwe moto oge ọbụla ọtọ na mechanic workshop. Mana alụghị ụzọ si from the heart of the town to Isuani Ọcha, it will take him 5 minutes. Isi from Isuani Ọcha junction to the heart of the town bụ Elizabeth junction. Kita.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Adịm agbarozi nje na mechanic. Ọ nọ ka every weekend a nwere mechanic ebe nna m suspension moto. Eweligo m ego nwee efe nji a wee na-eme. Mma arapụke n'Awka ka anyị jee Ọnịcha.
Ka anyị jee n'Ọnịcha ọsịsọ ka anyị nụ efe.
The last time mmiri gba public water bụ gọọmenti kwesịrị na-enye na Anambra State ebi m n'azụ gọọmenti house mgbe October 16th, 2001.
That is nke a na-akpọ pipe borne water. That's nke na
ebe nna m nwee property ebe anyị bi ebe ahụ eji m ntu wee dee na wall the date mmiri gba last n'akụkụ ebe pọmpụ dị ebe isi agbapụta mmiri tap dị eji m ntu ọka dị ebe ahụ iji ebe anyị afụ date m dere ebe ahụ dị ntu ile anyị ga-ama na oyi edela oge tele aka ọ bụrụ ife edele kịta 16th of October amụ nwanne m nwoke on the 15th of October so 16th ahụ o mere m the date adị n'isi m 16th of October 2001 mgbe Soludo bata enwezie dị ka water board ọ dịzị ka ọ dị non-existent mana anyị nwere various urban water schemes na-alụ ọrụ na Anambra kịta any house ọbụla alụ n'Awka before 2001 they connected to pipe borne water mmiri na-agbanye ya mana any house ọbụla alụrụ after this date ngwa gị onye ahụ connect to water board so mmiri ama mmanụ ya so ọ ga-etake kwa time onye ọbụla connect ma ọ bụkwa ma mmiri a na-agba mgbe nwee source ebe mmiri si ọ ga-abịa connect mmiri abata na be gị ọ na-alụ ọrụ
n'Ọnịcha kịta
ọ na-alụ ọrụ n'Ọnịcha Peter Ọnịcha water scheme na-alụ ọrụ otu ọcha water scheme na-alụ ọrụ nke Awka na-alụ ọrụ nke Nnewi nọ in the works kịta anya nke Nnewi ọfịs ha dị na old Ọba Road Nnewi ka ọ dị ka anyị jee Ọnịcha Ọchanja bụ a very popular place ka ọ bụ n'Ọnịcha Ọchanja nọkwa almost the center of Ọnịcha mana before Soludo ebe ahụ bụ refuse dump ka ọ bụ ịma nga nwere ebe ahụ mgbe ekpuchiri aka n'ime ọ dị impossible mana gbaga ebe ahụ nkịta Ọnịcha Ọchanja roundabout ọzọ ebe ọ ga-abịa iche edobe fon welu na-ese pikchọ ọ ga-afọmụzi background ebe ndị Gen Z jikwa eme content ha na-eme
isiokwu
ije Nnewi a na-ekwuwe na emere Nnewi abandon na the last governor lụrụ ụzọ na Nnewi ofejiti Aba maka na onye Nnewi ka ọ bụ mana kịta m ga-account make up to 5 different roads a na-arụ aka nọkwa na accessibility which is road. I have not even gone into other aspects.
We will get to other aspects. I just chọọ ka ịkọwatala anyị ife mere iji rate the government.
Ị gafee Ekwulọbịa kwesịrị ịbụ the 4th urban area of Anambra. You and I know what is happening in Ekwulọbịa. Ihe na-eme Ekwulọbịa ejiri aka ekpuchi ya. Achụpụsịchala ma a na-agbago ndị na-ele afịa ticha ọmbụla erele afịa na Ekwulọbịa roundabout. O nwere ebe alụrụ afịa. Ha je na local gọọmenti je mgbe regista ka enyefe ebe fada ahụ. Maka ọ bụrụ ịlụọ flyover n'usi ụzọ ị chụọ mmadụ chenye na ele afịa ebe ahụ na enwere ebe fa ga-anọ wee na-enwe afịa ha na-aga na new market ahụ n'Ekwulọbịa. Ọnịcha ahụ gọọmenti of Anambra State na-atry decongest Ọnịcha ọgbọ na-agafe ọbụ maka Ọnịcha dịzi overpopulated.
Eziokwu. Okay.
M ga-akwụsịgodo ebe a ka ọ gara ịbụ na m na-ewepụtachi ife niile nji na
mgbe ya ewepụtachi ya na time ka dị anyị ka nwere ife anyị ga-eme ọga m uche kedu isi nọ 4 out of 10 ka ị ga-ereti Governor Soludo n'ọrụ ọ na-alụ na Anambra State ndị nwanne anyị nwoke akọwatagokwanụ ịmago ihe ofu ihe ma ụzọ na-abụ ịmago mmeli nyanwa ji wee si nọ 8 ka ya na-ereti gọvanansa mana ebe isi nọ 4 kọwata na anyị ka ife meli iji wee si nọ 4 ka ị na-ereti.
Enwere onye gasị na ofe nnedo site Advokc. Self-rating is you can never get the right results when you self-rate yourself.
Chelekwa nna m ochie nwere ife ọ na-ekwu mgbe ọ sị na onye na-ene onwe une ọ pasịa mana etu ya ngụma na-akọwata kịta na
Even Anambra State's governance and how it relates to the governorship, person in charge of the state, Governor Professor Soludo. Because some of us were a very high expectation on him.
Okay.
Imagine, in expectation for somebody to disappoint. You have been disappointed when somebody you never expected anything from get to disappoint you. Man, I consider like this will and if you look at Anambra State and what he's talking about, Anambra State has always been on this trajectory since the creation. Because during the time it was still joined with the enemy, it lacked a lot of basic amenities, basic infrastructure. And each governor there since Mandi military governors. Or they then point out together, or as well as a bigger than here, a big governor also. Another person, it's a facility, we wrote that on, So, in case of that in Richard, there's nothing so special about him. I would rather say that Soludo is a very huge disappointment. If you look at his campaign promises and how all the promises are being implemented, in our jewelry, is this what we saw during the campaign?
Okay.
We saw the flowery promises, beautiful promises, a lot of things were said. Can we really the very fundamental key thing, which is security of lives and property?
Okay.
Imana, Asana, Izota, even exalted. You cannot, as a governor, embark on whatever projects where the people who are building these projects for are not even safe. They are not anywhere to be found. You are wasting resources. As far as a lot of millions of thousands of people in Anambra State are concerned, you're just patching your ego. This is for your ego. Soludo embarked on many projects, like Akaya is so many places without any focus. If you look at the security of Anambra State, it has deteriorated to the very worst level. We have lost some local governments in the hands of men of underworld. And if you hear the stories, the stories are very harrowing. Then in the police architecture, the military, the people who are supposed to provide the security, or the approach. Let's look at his approach, for example. The strategy only deployed, trying to secure the people. Almost a book and your launch, or do that. I mentioned that do that. And you ask yourself, is this what he has been planning for years? Or we're not more time. Yeah, bringing more time. Bring a lot of people run away from Anambra State. That's when you came up with this.
But some people will argue that this insecurity are the peculiar to Anambra State.
Security is peculiar to
What I'm just
all over the world. Security is a problem that is created. Insecurity is a problem that is created by human everywhere. So when we report the peculiar, and if I know what is your efforts? Is it up to 100%? Is it 80%? Is it 70%? Especially as regards to human lives, protection of human lives. If your efforts is below average, then I question your intents.
so you believe na ako na etinye loop security na Anambra State aburo if you may expect.
All the necessary, but coordination.
For
example, if any Anambra State get up, anywhere insecurity, even Anambra State, anywhere different layers of insecurity regarding every region. For example, where you got peculiarity, you look at each and here they can born. You must peculiar problem.
Okay.
Each if they can go out, no, maybe no so the situation. Anyway, peculiar problem finally one. Each if they can or Anambra North. If you now about different type of problems.
Okay.
Now, if you guys don't know, only all these different problems as a governor, can be strategic approach in an implement. They are be sustainable. Can we make sure that people, because when we feel each of the warrior or each of the you want to heal an injury, then they decide to cut off the hand. Now, each of you heal injury, you practically carry out a surgery within that portion about human injury. Remove that and heal it. With that, all you think Soludometer. Because if we hear on it, because like everywhere, with no tangibles, but the ear never had to let it go, did not care as when the line of question, So I do not like when we talk about governance and we begin a lot of platitudes and flowerings. There are basic things that I look out for. If you do not provide or demonstrate as an individual or as a governor that you really care or you really understand or you are able to listen to counsels from professionals. If you do not give that impression, your first year, second year, your third year, already say that in the election.
November 8th, precisely.
It means that the ongoing now, only now, as a governor, in our normal, how we feeling then I know and they will have a family again, also. All the young people that graduates in Anambra State that usually stay in Oka, usually stay in Onitsha, maybe the club and environments. Also. And you ask yourself, Eba, Fano, Anambra State, what could actually return there? What are the things or the government can hardly return? We're not talking about attracting young people from overseas, we're talking about returning the ones that are here. Can you hear me? Anambra State will be very attractive to young people. These are the things you can call it soft power. There's some things that government needs to implement or to do, something like policies, especially regarding security. Because young people who find Anambra State unattractive, they actually link it to insecurity. So far people secure, they don't feel secure in Anambra State, in Oka, in Onitsha. The doubts are everywhere. So you promised Anambra at the time. I wish them one of the campaign policies. Digital. No digital.
Chalo. Aghọtalụ m ebe si abịa. Ife gbasara insecurity, ana m anachiata maka na mma abịa ka ịkọwalụ m about the insecurity. Mana ọ na-akọwakwa na gọvanọ alụgokwa some projects. Ịghọtago onye etekwala anyị examples about the projects ọ lụgo. In fact, ọ sụ n'ụzọ. Over 400 has been completed out of 700 kilometers.
I will never use road projects to measure the performance of any person, executive person. If you put a baby, a 10 months old baby, as a governor of Anambra State today, right? Okay, let me be if you put a 10-year-old boy as a governor of Anambra State, right? As a 10-year-old boy will go. Also, actually, right? That also can be constructed.
Just by mere saying it.
Exactly. There is money. Provided there is money. Also, natural those are every procedure that is already in place. That's why there is a government. Government is not just 1%. We are just a significant figure that gives instructions. So if a 10-year-old boy can give instructions to build road, why should it be a big deal for a professor, a former senior governor? Do you understand? It is a very big embarrassment to even conceive the idea of applauding Soludo for building a main road. If you go to Anambra State today, in one community, all you see people community, a road are constructed by the indigents. By the indigents. If only I will dispute him. Wait, don't worry, let him finish. And when we are not of community if I'm not, it's not disputable. I can use my community as an example. How disputable? My community very, very disputable.
And then when you during Christmas, during Christmas, where chalo na Anambra, only one or two things family about if a family observe na Anambra. So then you can join us say, Makaifi
if you go to almost every rural communities in Anambra State, you see these things I'm going to mention. Rural electrification. Healthcare, that is the hospital.
I will still dispute you. Hospital.
Construction. Sending kids to schools. Free education and all of that. There are many communities in Anambra State
that have individuals.
So I'm telling you this. I'm not saying that it's actually a bad thing or it is something. What I'm telling you is to let you see that these things are a normal thing. It's not anything special. Anyone can do it. So when you come to public space to tell Anambra or Igbo that are listening to you that Professor Soludo has built many roads and you expect an applaud, I beg you, I will disappoint you, I will not. Because that is the barest anybody can offer. Anybody can do that. So you're really for this significant here also. You're really for this so special here also.
This government facilities on achieved fix like this government house and they put for almost 30 something plus years.
From 1996,
so I agree now.
Wait, so let me come there. Each governor will never found. In regarding providing basics for where government officials or government functions or government activities take place. Be it school, be it offices, be it judiciary, those arms of government, and when that's the required infrastructure for needed and they're all secretary Anambra State or from Enugu State. Most of those facilities and infrastructure we are in Enugu.
Yes.
And we're in Anambra. So kita Anambra because in so when you look at kita, it doesn't make you. There's something so special about what you're doing. If in the level China, they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're beginning at 7. We're poor. You ever can do not 89. Why are we the Governor Soludo will say, another person will come in and continue from there.
mana facilities bido wee lụba nwegokwanụ ndị sọrọ ya na gọọmenti ndị chibugolu before wee luo nyanwa so 1 na 7 ego onwe ndị kwụsịrị na 1 ịghọtago wee gụọ 2 3 4 wee luo na 7 nwoke a wee bịa wee bido wee mebe n'olu ike kwelie ịghọtago and ọ dịkwa possible na nyanwa mesịa rapịa na 7 na onye ọzọ nwekwa ike bịa je bido na 10 mwa na-ekwu ịghọtago nke anyị na-afụbakwa every now and then so ma sị nke ọ na-alụ don't you think na ọ dịrọ mma
I'm not saying, listen, I want you to get me very clear regarding the against. I am not saying that na if one and one, even in the group, maybe an a prof, the professor, now public infrastructure, that. For instance, we have passed that level.
Okay.
We can't continue with that.
Okay.
That can never be used to rate governance again in 2025. If anybody is doing that, call the person with bluff. Because I am never going that level. Every single time the rhetoric is the same. If you turn to some of these government-owned radio stations, because these things are dated. This is 2025. There are things that you expect government to do. There are things you expect government to implement.
Okay.
There are policies you expect government to bring that will facilitate development, that bring about. How many FDI have we experienced in Anambra State in the last couple of years as a professor of economics that has manned CBN, that has that level of exposure? How many investments driven a policy have you been able to implement and ensure the critical end of it? Not building those, not building government laws and governments. These things are for politicians. The ordinary people in the village. How are you enabling their plans? The people who are suffering the insecurity situation. Okay. How are you ensuring that they get out from that situation? These are the things that people are looking for. The people in knowledge are tired of arrows and doubts. They are tired and sick of arrows. They want you to implement the technology, the modern way of collecting tax, which you promised them. They want it yesterday, and it is still not being implemented.
Okay.
And you're talking about road. They can't even move around with their goods, anything. It's free. So when you do not do those fundamentals, you deprive the citizens a lot of things. Not just the privilege, not just the freedom, not just a lot of things. Most of these people, if you go to the one that was constructed from Amansi to Orumba North, Orumba South, you see that road is abandoned. Hardly you see people ply that road because of how unsafe the place is, number one. Number two,
unsafe or standard. No standard. Get safety.
I'm talking about the safety of the road users who ply from Amansi to that end. That is the Orumba South. They need their safety. Where is the safety? In our I have not feel a single police. Our homes several times. Now the question we are doing now, for example, that road is beautiful. It's a beautiful infrastructure. Okay. Anybody can do it again. Anybody can do it. However, they need the safety measure that is in place to ensure the users of that road. Yeah, just one.
Okay. Ngwaga m uchechalụ aghọtala m ife ikwu dị n'anya aghọtakwa m ife na-ekwu maka na ịbanyela okwu ime ịghọtago ịbanyela okwu ime which is why I have not brought it up. Abịago m na your table wee busanya bụ ife o nwere ebe ikwu ịma na o nwere ebe ikwu mgbe ọ nọ na-akọwata ịghọtago iwe si na ihe dispute particularly ọ nọ na-akọwata na rural development bụ individuals near na Anambra
dispute ya. Okay. Enwe local government a na-akpa Anambra West local government.
Anambra West.
Yeah. Okay. Before this government, enwere ụzọ esi dị na local government headquarters dị na Nzam.
Okay.
As big as the local government headquarters is, enwere ụzọ esi eje ebe ahụ. Ebe ahụ ma na agrarian district area ka ọ bụ. The whole of Anambra West na agrarian local government ka ọ bụ. These people chọrọ ile o nwere ji a na-akpọ ji otu. Ebe ọ na-esi abata bụ na Delta State. but on Anambra West ka na-akụ ya before this.
Eziokwu ka ị na-ekwu.
Eziokwu ka m na-ekwu.
That is actually bulu dị ji ejefa
So gaa through a land dị na Delta State wee bata Anambra wee lee ya. Yeah? Before this government, kita now, only take onye ndị Anambra West. Woman go up to 2 hours, you see from any come to Anambra West to Onitsha. I know that he said, but before, he got through a land in Delta State. Where the Anambra. Only 7 communities out of the 14 communities over a Igala speaking area in Anambra. Before now, 7 communities in Ulu primary health center there. And I went down Ulum Banasa. When the governor of Anambra State to and here, Soludo became governor. I don't know. I will dispute him.
Okay.
He only called a combination of Urumba North, Urumba South, and Agwata local government. Used to be Agwata local government before.
Okay.
Only community and Enugu 1 year. The first third road in Enugu 1 year today, which has Soludo be administration beyond here.
Okay.
Let's talk about the basics. When any single health center belong to government Anambra State, one na kwugo fantinatal chilo mo yeah.
The verifiable
oboro na ase. Any government own health facility, one be no work into it, am na the kobo until a one.
So kwanya na eme.
So no civilian section, only ga mo for free. Yeah? People na ga from primary school until SS3 na Anambra State.
Na Anambra anya
for free. No tuition. Kobo, Emantineria. What I include ENM stand mother directly.
Okay.
Figure on nature. As big as Figure one of the most densely populated places when I go of Anambra State. Only second to Awada, Bosi, the local government. Yeah? And one single government owned health facility in here. But today, I have a brand new specialist hospital from the scratch to finish. So don't allow 5 brand new general hospitals, all of them decided in Anambra North Senatorial Zone. Because if by metrics, Anambra North Senatorial Zone will be the poorest senatorial zone in Anambra State.
Anambra South.
Anambra North.
North. Okay.
Yes.
North.
Man, allow 5 brand new general hospitals, renovate and upgrade the 3, 1 in each of the senatorial zones.
Yeah, make it.
Yes. Now, teaching hospital Anambra State, the Noka, and we brought trauma center. We brought from a school distribution hall. All these governments be familiar. No child renovated the entire renovation of the entire hospital may go on, including time of the whole internal museum at the own.
Okay.
We'll move again.
So much on insecurity. Yes.
The insecurity, the approach, had was sustainable. And we disputing. The security architecture Anambra State used passed through the House of Assembly. And the law was passed before we do.
Okay.
So that's now Madam Mansero, something, he used something in the law as an approach to tackle insecurity. Again, when they get disputes,
okay.
Yeah? But this thing had to pass through a system. It was a bill passed through the House of Assembly before it was signed into the law. And I don't think anything well law backing it up. Madam, I say you are sustainable. That would be fallacy. What are being doing fallacy? You're not going to law backing something up. It's not young sustainable. Sustainability depends on the governments that took over from the government that started.
But even are certain laws were not technical.
Laws will go to technicalities. That is why laws can be reviewed. In how many times say review go next in the constitution in order to accommodate what is in the times that we are here now. So if a law, something not brought you into the law, it revisits the law.
Okay.
That is all, but not anything that perfects.
But can you practically, do you believe now the strategy government
insecurity cases in Anambra prior to this law, the 100, before there's another 7.
100.
7. I can categorically tell you. Open 100 cases of insecurity before Anambra, before there was 7. Keta.
In Achikowana, these groups, governor set it up now.
It is only when I say no, they are work. Only they feel perfect because now, although in your Sokwanya, again, when they bad eggs in here.
Okay.
What's happening when 100 employees?
Yes.
Again, when people have fault, it is a must. But a man here, the 99 good, only 1 bad. It's not the 100 of them, not the bad. it's only goes to sound. You only go about here and understand them, madam. We go down to the things the basic. Things is sustainable. Anambra State is building the only and the biggest tech hub everywhere that the whole of Nigeria is state government to be finally. And that parcel of land they go in belong to government na that campus and they use as government house. All be under construction now. But anyway, temporary site and now organize boot camps for children non at primary school during holidays up until secondary school and even people non at university.
If ndị a na-eme na Anambra,
the agency in charge of it bụ na Solution Innovation District. A na-alụ a tech hub kịta na ọ nọ under construction, but ha nwegoro ebe ha na-anọ temporarily until alụcha nke ahụ. So kedu ka ịma na tech bụ ife anyị nọ ya kịta na a gọọmenti a na-alụ ihe gbasara tech isi na ha na-eme ihe n'ekipụ chelo ka
onwelu maka na onwe ebe ọ na-adịa dị m mkpa maka na ife gbasara young people a metụ m ife nji ekwu ebu ịma na anyị nọ na social media nke a na-akpọ X.
Yes.
So we full a very long thread some young lady but na akọwa ka ya si wee jesie youth service we na-eme expect ka ya nachita Anambra bịa kuzibe nkuzi for 30,000.
Yes.
Na bụ thread where a lot of young people especially from Anambra that came back to report that na ha wish na fa ya anọkwa back in the state ma fa gosi akwụkwọ mana because enwere sustainability imago ife ha gosi na school ebe fa ya alụ ọlụ ụmụ ihe tech enwere ebe ha ga practice mu their content creation nke nwa.
Yes.
Awasị na ife ndị a na-ebupụ ha
na
Anambra.
Now if I bụ isi ife somebody bụ the governor may go identify as a problem.
Okay.
We bido loba first of all no bluzo we to go do a short-term measure establish that district. Nefe befa ganano a convert ebe campaign office governor to temporary place anan.
At convert.
Yes.
Okay.
Ebe campaign office ebe fa convert it ebe ndi ebe anan. And eme training ebe anan. Now these things go as far as na and eme na different senatorial zones of the state.
Okay.
One emelu na for Anambra Central emelu na dozie nwankwo foundation this thing building dinner boundary abaga na Enugu ukwu dị na njikọ local government eme na Nnewi. One of the people who were the place eme na Nnewi nọ na X afia bụ bail achụsị Nnewi take up before after the place all state government kwụrụ ụgwọ use ebe onwe a take up we train ndị mmadụ na-eme boot camp ebe ahụ every break anọ during the term from the primary and secondary school.
Okay.
Now eme na Onitsha. These are the three senatorial zones where the men the headquarters of that solution in the small district. So I mean, no 4 places can earlier. Any local sustainability, always something. Imana, one of the things I point out about human capital development. In the mix with education, Anambra State government has employed 8,115 teachers.
Na Anambra State.
Yes, the first batch was 5,000. The second batch about 3,115.
Of primary school teachers.
Primary and secondary school teachers.
Okay.
Now, Anambra BM the best ratio teacher to student of public schools in the whole of Nigeria.
But mejikwa anyo komitam kamyo
Icho
information na ida fe nye maka na ife adem igota and no go live for something kitinye no mo ima no we folk about the Agboro situation.
Now,
nyelu ma
chelo kan ngwa difu go into Anambra State government with something Anambra State identification number. For any government revenue choice on Anambra State, you see use nothing where.
Okay.
And I can tell you for free because I've been privileged with the information. Only approximately 260,000 businesses before when that's number, Anambra. And I can tell you they want to 2 million businesses now in Anambra State. Willingness and the tax evasion culture I cultivate go over the years. Tax evasion would be maintained actually. Before I course here. Individuals now tax in Anambra State below 500,000.
Chalo. Makana na ndị Agboro afa dị n'anya n'iru wela.
Chalo ka nkọwasị asị
okay.
Ndị fa na-akpọ ndị Agboro. They na-akpọ ndị Agboro bụ ndị gọọmenti ji enforce that tax revenue. And akwụsị gị, ife a ga-ajụ gị. Kedu your ASIN number? will last number na Anambra State Internal Revenue website. It will bring out every single tax that you have paid the state government.
But must the government use this subsidiary to collect her tax?
It is just to question you, Epugo on Epubero, and not about you were the chance of going to pay it on your own. Which time?
Report I name what
Ote no kita na. Imete obule inwe interswitch app on the phone. Nga log in, go see ebe ga kwa Anambra State Internal Revenue. Yeah. From the comfort of your home. It digitalize everything.
Yes.
What is more digital than you? At the comfort of your home. Go into InterSwitch website. Tinye your Anambra State identification number here. Go business premises. Go fire service. Go signage. Go store levy. As the case may be.
What
they ask you for. Even if I send number, what's the key it into the Anambra State Internal Revenue website? For every single thing that you have.
Street.
Wait, in here for the
feedback, I know what
wait, if you na rota, I had the culture of equal tax na Anambra.
But at this point,
if my brother did go, I don't think go say yeah. Man, no influence on Canada look up for man. The time we have so much endured the absolute mediocrity in Anambra State should be a thing of the past. I will leave people, my sister. You talked about how you came across a tweet in 191. When I'm going and one man will remember in a solution. In fact, that is another problem again, where every single thing in the Anambra State I get a solution. Every solution.
When they doesn't know if I'm about government theme, what I go if government TG when I
solution take hope. Give me a single solution driven policy. Game Omaka Nana de Trade. Nothing fair. Where you can roll here. Anambra State. Can you business, can you policy, can you solution driven policy? Let me give you an example. Here's what I'm doing now. One hand in charge. I'm so noble. So noble. I didn't go Oka. No, I didn't go to Oka. In fact, they didn't ever to knock and get one key cover. Then, you guys now we're sending my now come on one. And I don't even know what you are doing knowingly is that even though you are using one hand to give people corn, the outputs from that corn in our neighborhood. So it's really not yielding any fruits. So if I have Anambra State it is too much verbose. I'm not going to America. When you get to them, everyone mentioned actually from everyone mentioned. A few weeks ago, I was invited to that place.
Okay.
To come and assess the building and give them an idea of
that is the fintech. Fintech kind of okay.
Need to come and assess this building.
Okay.
To come and give them an idea of how they are going to make the place very productive. Okay, Governor Chukwuma Soludo. This is to explain to them that look, and people like myself, there's a place where Governor Soludo and other states, okay. He may be doing very well. He may be accepted and giving the all their comments.
Okay.
We are living in Anambra State, for Christ's sake. There is expectation. There are expectations. Every place we give in the society. All we will know is the year of the government. I mean, you can't do this thing, but if you go out, another brain, my name answered, another brain, professor of economics. Why you are saying all these things? It keeps reminding me that you are talking about professor of economics.
Enwere nnepụta nkata ka mụ na unu nwere ịkpata so achọ m ka anyị na-eweli ya maka na ihe nka ga-ajụ unu buru ibu onye ka m ji wee chọọ ka ndị ka ndị egwubịa ekwuchaghị aka nọkwa ebe ahụ
aka m azachabeghị ife okwu
ka mmanụ ka m na-esi wee nye ya maka na ife ka chọrọ iwe ka buru ibu
ịma na nsị dị na ife okwu si na m ga-edispute ya
anyị ka dispute chabe
chabe
maka ife chọrọ before dispute achọrọ m ka anyị deal with this whole agboro situation once so maka ya ka m na-eji wee tinye ndị agụ na-eche mba na the group ịghọtago ife m na-eji wee tinye fa bụ na anyị na-ekwu na ndị agboro akarịa n'obodo na anyị na-achọ ka anyị esi wee manage efa gọvanọ wee create agụ na-eche mba of course it's like a vigilante ijikwa wee na-etinyekwa anya n'obodo na-eche ekekwa ife na-eme ịghọtago so iwe na-asị ma ọ karịrị ọ dụrọ too much considering ife anyị ji n'aka
the aka cannot be overemphasized. Okay, na ife nkwu mmadụ ama nnọkọta kịta na-akwụ si na security na ọ dị too much adịghị kwuru ya ekwu
ndị a ma atọ nụ ọnụ ndị a nwere the ability to turn around and become something else.
onwere ka ị ga-esi wee sị na fa ga-atọ ife a bụrụ na ajọ ka gọvanọ kata jos weke ọpụ sị gị na ọ na-afọ ma agụ na-eche mba obodo ụzọ ede law gara guide every single thing ha na-eme now executive bill ka ọ bụrụ na onye House of Assembly weta bill nyanwa de ọ bụrụ na Commissioner for Justice ya bụ ife dị eme
ọ na-ede anyị ka ga-eje na nke o dee na 2023 ọ na-ede
wee si from wee bụrụ the bill bugala house is scrutinized cha bill which ya talia ọ sign ibido yuzu bịa
meaning na ọ dị mma
yes ndị nọ na house dị mmadụ 30 ahụ ọkwa anyị nwa ifesifa ha jebe so ife ọbụla ha kwuru na ọ dị mma o mean na anyị nwa kwuru na ọ dị mma ewenye gọvanọ sign nwa ebido yuzu bịa mma amakwa weda ma since ahụ ha bidoro ịlụ ọrụ ajụkwalụ m gị asị gị na ọ bụ na 100 ka ọ dị before na ihe ọ dịzi kịta na-abụ 7
fa bụkwa nnekwute nọmba
a na-ekwu okwu abatara m n'edukeshọn bifo igbe kọt ọnụ a na-ekwu okwu human capital development ngwa gị sị gị na ọ dị intertwined with education. Anambra State government na-alụ 22 smart schools and gọvanọ sị ịlụsịa smart school ije kpọtakwa ndị nọ na ordinary school sifa bịa kụzi na smart school ihe train smart teachers ga-akụzi na smart school because mmadụ ama nkụzi nwere ife na onwero ọ ife inwe ị ga-enyewo mmadụ nke ọcha maka a na-ekwu okwu a na-acha atụ smart school ọ sị ka anụ kene ka ọ dị nwaanyị na ịchọrọ local government. Kedu mgbe emela award contract? He was awarded in November 20. Chelu Godi Kamkusie emela award smart school in November 2024. Kedu mgbe time again?
November 2024. If I know na March 2025.
Enwelu ndị na-cover smart schools a na-alụkịta na. Fa cover chief Basalia. Adịm privilege emu n'ụlọ ndị na-cover. Fa cover chief fa ga-ewepụta the public domain ndị mmadụ enene. Nwoke bife nwere that facility na cover ya kita na all way nefa ana cover ihe na-eme ya nke a nwecha ngwa gị na-emele employ 8,115 teachers my for be take mmadụ 8,115 na-enwere ifefa na alụ
be very sure no na Anambra case we hire
chelo ka m kwusie ihe ọ na-ekwu kita na-agba asị I will dispute it. Or whether any community na Anambra can have a teachers or because then the way and and you spread the when the mother across equally across the 21 local governments. they send it back to your local government of origin.
Okay.
Ibulu onye Anambra West ziga ga Anambra West na ben na geje
Okay, okay.
So ese na ewechalụ ndị mmadụ na enwe communities na aha ya. Asị ka ọ bụ maka na isi kịta na ihe divide ya 21 by 8,115. Anyị ga-ama nọmba ọ ga-agbapa local government. Ma nọmba ọ ga-agbapa town dị na local government. Now, aside that, abịa na schools a na-akpọ public missionary schools. Bụ gọọmenti were nyechi ya ndị ụka. O nwere ndị bụ ụka bi enwebi originally anụsịa Biafran war gọọmenti kpọkọrọ ha ncha nne. Ewele ha ncha nne nyechi ya ndị ụka. Gọọmenti bụ ife na-eweta teachers na-akụzi na those schools.
Okay.
Na-enyekwafe ego. The government of Anambra State enyego school ndị ụka na manage over 2 billion naira.
That's how it has always been.
Chelo ka mkwụsị ya over 2 billion naira. Some fraction of teachers a na-emele employ. Eti for a school ndị ụka. This is sustaining a winning policy that has been going on in the state. Rank Anambra State among states in Nigeria in education. Ohere anyị oge ebe Anambra ga-anọ. Anambra bi enwe the least number of out of school children in the entire country.
Cannot be credited.
Chelogodo ka nkwụsie free education Soludo nwe drop the number drastically. Ọ bụ na eme ọ dị verifiable. If a number dị before the policy and number after the policy. Ka enwe ka ha na-aba bufu ka enwe very huge drastic drop na the number. Ihe a niile
bụ ndị na-ajụ na
Chelụkwa ka nkwụsie maka ihe human capital development. Enwere policy Anambra State government na-akpọ one youth two skill. A lot of them criticize the thing. Say na o nwere anything ọbụla dị sustainable a na-eme na ya. Ọ na o nwere isi. Anambra State government train 5,000 youths over 6 months.
How much?
Chelo ka nkwụsie.
How much?
Allow me to finish. Chelo ka nkwụsie. Abana speed. Within 6 months, train chafa in various skills. How much akafa choose na options enye ha.
Mmadụ niile anyị na-akpa afa bụ ife mere eme.
Chelo
just numbers.
Chelo. Ọ bụrụ sọsọ ndị train bi benefit from it. Because the government be efe nwe ebe a na we train those people. O nwere my friend nwere ebe a na-eme cake na meat pie na buns na ndị otu ya. Anyị na-akpọ confectionaries n'oyibo. O nwere headquarters ya bụ na Ichi ka ọ dị Ichi dị na-ekwusigo local government. O nwere branch n'Umoji. Anambra State government use facility a train ndị mmadụ.
Okay.
On this thing. So ọ bụrụ dị sọsọ nọ ndị train no benefit from. O nwere ndị ego facility ha eyuzu.
Akwụkwalụ fere ụgwọ.
Maka ọfanwa bụ ife made nkuzi. A train mmadụ 5,000 na. Each of them collected at least 200,000 naira as startup grant from the state government.
That is Soludo nyere ya ndị mụsụ.
A total lump of ego have about 2.5 billion naira. Now, a na-ekwakọ the second batch kita now. So I made second batch of mmadụ 5,000, which is the peak number. Ọ bụrụ mmadụ ole, mmadụ 10,000. Ọ bụrụ na onye bụ baking ka o bido. Ọ dịghị ka after 2 years or 1 year, ọsọsọ ya bụ ife ka ga na-alụ ebe ahụ. Ọ ga-enwe onye ọ ga-akpọta ga na-enyere aka.
Nke bụ eziokwu.
Mmadụ abụọ. Ịma na o kwuru ife ka ekwuo ife gọọmenti na-eme metụtalụ ndị mmadụ directly. Kedu ka a government free health policy for ndị pregnant women, free education from nursery to secondary school. Yeah?
These things have been said before.
Mana ife ajụjụ mmụọ nwe bụ na ajụjụ mmụọ nwe bụ na afa niile numbers anyị na-akpọ afa 5,000 ebe 800 people ebe mụnwa na-ekwu ọ gị nwa na-akọwata anyị because ọ bụ
ndị UNICEF adịghị eme maka UNICEF bi ekwu na Anambra bi enwe best teacher to student ratio na the world, na the whole state, the whole country. ọ bụrụ m bife kwuru o kwuru okwu sị no all communities na Anambra bife nwere road dị na ya. Nye the example a very staggering one a local government dị 34 years ị nwere ụzọ esi alụ gọọmenti headquarters ịmụkọ na alụ ka ọ bụ nnukwute alụ ka ọ bụ.
How many communities do we have in Anambra State?
Ihe nwere na Anambra bụ 179 communities
And a
in
single
Anambra State.
community does not have roads.
Anyị si na-enwero
What does that
chelo isi na-enwero and ọ bụrụ single community maka na ụzọ ahụ chelo ụzọ ahụ cover from onwe chelo ụzọ ahụ cover from onwe eze anam ọ kwụsị alụgidere ụzọ ahụ kwụsị na boundary ụmụ eze anam na mmịata anam ụzọ ahụ bụ 10.9 kilometers ka ụzọ ahụ dị chelo and ụzọ ahụ abụrụ ụzọ 10. Chelo ka m kwụsị ụzọ 10.9 kilometers ụzọ 10.9 kilometers abụrụ na ofu taụnụ ka ọ dị ọ dịrọ possible
ọ galụ round
ụzọ a
round the
mmịata anam wee luo nza and ama how many communities dị ebe ahụ ikwu okwu PHC na-enwero ngwa gị lump of 7 communities na-enwero ka ma ofu mkpụrụ primary health center dị na ya.
What is so special about it?
What is so special about na Anambra State enwere 7 communities na-enwero ya nwaanyị dị ime aga 7 towns ya ebe na ị nọ na the last one bụ Igbo Kenyi because ama m name of these towns ọ bụrụ na the last one bụ Igbo Kenyi isi ebe ahụ wee gakide wee pụọ na nzam if you nweta primary health center.
Mana these communities nwere local government chairman. Representation. Mana House of
ife Soludo kwu na Anambra State bụ steeti nwere very huge infrastructural deficit. Ọ kpọrọ afa echefugo m ego na ọ kpọrọ afa ọ sị na ọ ga-abịa itinye na Anambra a wee bịa cover that deficit enwe. And there were a lot of abandoned projects which include the government house. Buddhist governments gonna complete here. But I na shout Alex in Teme Square. He had no completed projects since we don't have to do. Okay, see what there is stands. So when I have stand I got you was one other completed.
Okay, chelo kainu from Oga Anyuche. Oguche, what do you think? Because you
I thought I'm no longer.
No, you are with us. you are with us. You are with us.
Solution. I don't know if I'm so. No, but just ask your question.
Okay, so he has tried to Okachijoko try go to defend this government. He want to go even otinye go onu na insecurity tinye onu na imago moves government na-eme iji wee but you seem to be disagreeing with ife ọ na-ekwu. So if actually imago ka ebe nge nwa si disagree from.
Actually, what I'm here actually that's yourself.
Okay.
Very important. For example, when thank you never get not like example I didn't get it. Thank you never now. I said, go on, I don't have 1 million.
Now, banya.
1 million. Even if the money we talk ina video bale asa ni never bane even cha ina video njo ina bale ndela chidoke video ba ile bukani opposite time yaga mana imoke na camera video okay if you watch one and points out communities egoruzo babanya you mention all the communities and you have to celebrate that now. Out of 100 and something communities, not Anambra State, not 3 communities being captured there.
Okay.
It's roads, right? By the previous governments. That's what it means based on what he said.
About if me,
Now,
the example. I just give you an example. It's in the community name.
that's not what I
Is
said.
the example?
When you want to call no individuals, no, the community, if any nedolaka we na lose facility away
Opuluna, if only
Okay, you're interrupting my time. That's not what I said. What I said clearly, I will put it in when community, I cannot say, one community at Anambra State, probably CK for community, the Anambra State, you have individuals. Remember when I made that a reference? I was talking about individuals making contribution in their community. I'm also trying to buttress the fact that building roads is not anything special.
You said
What's the point?
you said that.
So in driving that point, I am telling you that the community here at Anambra State, what is CK for? You can have individual, where they go, where also. So governance what is there? What is the rules of?
Maka na emebekwa campaign ọzọ a ga-agwakwa anyị maka ịlụ kwụsa. Ịghọtago? A ga-agwakwa anyị maka ya.
Exactly. So why is it a special thing?
Kedu ife kpata ojiwe bụrụ na as old as we are, n'aka nwere communities ịmụka na o nwere ka o si wee dị na ntị ife leta ọbụ na Anambra as a whole na enwere towns ọ ga-abụ iche ije na ya ị na-achụ ụzọ iji esi wee che ya.
This is not the hand. Soludo will not cover the entire Anambra State. There are places we will not also cover in terms of road.
Okay.
No matter the money US are still constructing roads. China is still constructing roads. Every developed country, they are still constructing roads. So what are you talking about? Road. I find that.
I ain't one of the basics. That is the thing. You are one of the basics.
Go to those communities. For example, you mentioned a community that the Gala communities that they are abandoned, that do not have hospital. And when any community in Anambra State have hospital, efforts to attract investment. Why is Anambra State not attracting these investors? Then you look at other states and what they are doing and how they are attracting this investment. Then you tell yourself, I'm being expect from Soludo. This is what we're talking about. Anybody can do that. You can do better than that too. I'm sure you can do better because you know Anambra State more than Soludo. So if you are using constructing roads and building buildings as a yardstick to measure what a professor of economics or governor of Anambra State, let's even remove the fact that he's a professor here. If somebody that is a governor of Anambra State, your expectation is very high. Your yardstick is different. So you cannot continue to give us basics.
Do you know what is going to happen?
Can you stop?
Stop talking about roots and parents.
No, because I have other questions that our listeners
and focus on other aspects of governance.
We will do that. We will do that.
You see our governors asking his what's it called? What's the security name again?
Agonic.
Chasing after women with Abra. If I hear now,
you see how unfactual. You see how unfactual things that
that's allowed to make excuses because he did time
and expect people to take you seriously.
Don't say things that are unfactual.
You tell these things are there. You come to Anambra State, towns everywhere. There is no organization. There is no models of doing things. Everywhere, and I feel nothing concrete. And that's what we are saying. That this is not what we bargained for. And people like myself, there are many of us who see these things. You can't talk about government, 5,000, this thing, 10,000, all these things are numbers, they bandy around, hoping that it will stick to the people. So whenever they send their representatives who are represented, they repeat all these numbers. People at the grassroots that are supposed to benefit from all these things they talk about, they don't benefit. All those money and half of them they were like just what one was talking about, saying that I don't want to mention the name of the place, but I was consulted to give an idea very recently on how to run the place. So this is to tell you that if I don't call those about that, man, eventually cover because when I listen to my brother Soludo talk about how Governor Soludo has really gone so well in bringing road infrastructure to Enugu, in bringing a primary health center, I asked myself, before Soludo, there was primary health center. Before Soludo, there are general hospitals. Before Soludo, there are roads constructed in Anambra State.
Okay.
Right? Before Soludo, there is nothing Soludo is doing now that's novel. None. And when you need to know, look at the novel. We mentioned SIT, Soludo Innovation Center. I just have one question. You know why? Because it does not exist. Get the tech-driven project that is designed to actually assimilate those people that are trained
the tech schools.
No,
Tech training for the teachers.
No, that's the teacher's program. It's
Okay.
different from what I'm talking about. He said that SIC, right? Soludo Innovative Center, Abehan there, train people in different skills. What kind of skill? What kind of tech skills? Nobody has answered that question. And where are they applying those tech skills?
After they've learned it.
Nobody's answering that question. That's tweet for where the young ladies go.
Yes. Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
So these are the real report on ground. A lot of people like me who are politically aware that could be accused of being politically motivated. Now, I live in Anambra State, and I'm located in Anambra State because I want to be part of the development. I want to be the part of the development.
Okay.
There's nothing he's talking about that is new to me. Even the tech he's talking about, I know the contribution I have made as an individual in that community space.
Okay.
So it is not new to me, but I can tell you that what we are lacking when it comes to all those things that are needed, especially for young people, is that leadership. We need that leadership. Okay, look at, for example, let's take for example. Soludo told us that he's going to lay 5 optics, right? Around the university.
Yes.
What is the time frame? I asked them that. I remember asking them, the person that came during the program, the time frame. The talk was with me. The person didn't give me any time frame. Watching it. Now, kind of, we check on the reaction. That I think the project is still ongoing. And I can't tell you where the time frame. I can't tell you. That is something that you cannot experience. For example, maybe talk about someone like Peter. Somebody need time frame, maybe timeline on which you finish. Let me tell another one. The issue of I was he talked about Wi-Fi, right? If you go to Aroma, there used to be Wi-Fi. The Tesla, I think the Tesla, as I'm talking to you now, that's an analysis of
Okay.
in the room, right? And they after the Ketfan the water board
Okay.
by Soludo. After outside, it's they more or less renovated it. The water big about man, you go to the borehole, go to tear na room and go now. Also, you know, Abana homes. Travels what I said. The money you do back on Abana home, go anywhere. The way anybody in a month, anywhere, what I'm going to now begging on it. It's not what about and I'm begging on it. We'll just say it. Approve me right, wrong. Man, I can't have a million just in hand. Everyone, I would block off a solution. More like he renovated it and rehabilitated it and started working again. The only thing he knew about was before. And there is a reason why it failed. There's a reason why some of these projects failed. Compare that to what Peter is doing in the United States. Laying new pipes. Can you read that sign? Lay new pipe in Anambra State. Compare that. That is something when you look
I will also dismiss him now.
look at these two key things.
That's how funny
These two things, right? You ask yourself, this one is focus, right? Responsive and focus. Everywhere going on. And now going on.
There is something that I didn't want to do that he has told me, which is comparing two different levels. Because us now, time frame. You need 180 days capital higher. You need an after 180 days.
Yes,
Which 180 days? I am at this building, I'm at this building from this thing. Now, open a day legally pipes. The entire of the road, how many of the road of Oka were pipes that were relayed on it. The first day, MP from Waterboard, now that is the road. People and you have to know.
Let me tell you.
You have to know where Cello. Wait. You have to know.
Gentlemen,
You talk about time frame, but you mention somebody who gave a time frame for what?
Let me run.
Look at is more than 1 year in government, but More than after more than 1 year, but he gave 180 days from his state of inauguration. Don't say what you don't do. I'm telling you for a fact.
And the point is this.
We are in Enugu. Is there water in this particular building that we are in now from Enugu state government? After 180 days of pick and back, no. I have checked. It is a no. It's like this building now. There is no water now. There is no water in this building. Even the owners of this building.
Considering that we are in GRA, there's a very strong chance that there's water here. Anyway.
Because I was saying something before you interrupted. What we are talking about is very simple. We are looking at Soludo's government, and we are looking at the things he has promised and things he's going to do.
We have a meter that can actually assess it. We know how many that
we'll come to the meter.
We feel that is broken, how many that are ongoing, how many that has been kept. That these are things that are very, very visible for the eyes to see.
We are looking at what is promised.
And not coming from somebody who has a bias about
let him finish about it.
You can't be expecting something from a government you did not even support is coming up in the first place. Because you have never been in support of Soludo coming as governor of Anambra State. You shouldn't expect anything from him.
Imagine, look at
you do not have you can't have you can't have I will use him against him. He said, I will quote him. He said that if you don't have an expectation from somebody, you are not going to expect anything.
He was trying to make a point.
Yeah, he was making a point. Yes, now, you did not support this person coming into government. How are you expecting something from somebody, from something that you never had hopes in?
So
it is not possible.
When we look at Soludo's 4 years, almost 4 years ago.
It is almost 3 years, not 4 years. It is 17th of March 2022. Today is 2025. He was sworn in on the 17th of March 2022. So he can't.
There's an election coming up in November. It's almost
November. From now to November is how long?
It's not a year.
It is not a year. You do election preparation. It is not almost 4 years. It is not 3 months.
Yes, we're 3 months into the next year. Gentlemen, I'm enjoying our conversation, but I must redirect us because we need to face our course. There's so much that we need to talk about, and we are very short of time.
Yes.
Now, actually, directly, your definition or your explanation as to it. Chamber, because the public join about this thing. The public, I will start timing. Don't worry. If you get so if a choice you makana aguna chamber that's Governor Soludo wepota you got to go young people no obodo the skeptic about it. For then I say na 2025 ekosi can create such groups kafana echekwande mmadu ko ijikwa the normal security agencies the legit I know when our country ijikwa when actual crime and bad behavior. You got to go. So aguna chamber created by Governor Soludo, are you for it or not for it? Unu zaziamu onye obuna akowa ebe osi abia. Igotago.
Now, Agune Chamber
agreed or not?
If they are actually doing or
do you agree with the creation of it?
I actually agree.
You agree?
Now,
do you agree with the creation of Agune Chamber and its uses? No, you don't. Why do you agree?
Now, there was a statement in me in Eba. Am I saying security not too much?
Okay.
A man look at the security of a place now. No rikaze. Now, we have 179 communities in Anambra State. We have the police, we have the DSS, we have the army, we have the navy. Then we have the civil defense. I'm talking about security
forces
that are present in Anambra. We don't have Air Force. Yeah. No, because we don't have an Air Force base anywhere in Anambra State. No. Agone Chamber, which is majorly made up of the local vigilante.
Okay.
Because Agone Chamber is not even just a vigilante group. Agone Chamber encompasses of the whole security agencies in Anambra State. It is almost like a security task force. It is not just the local vigilante that is Agone Chamber.
Okay.
No. If you check the number of police officers in Anambra, and the ratio of individuals they are supposed to protect, you will know that that's the ratio. Not the too much. They go to DSS.
Too much or too small?
The number of individuals one police officer is expected to man in Anambra State. Or gas swallow the policeman 10 times over.
Okay.
Because now the ratio are very poor. Because all got like 1:1,000, which is not good.
Okay.
Now, the Agune Chamber security outfit is a comparison of all the whole security outfits in Anambra. It is a buffer. The vigilante aspect of it is a buffer to the already existing federal government security agencies. Now, there are things that you cannot do without the locals as far as security is concerned.
Okay.
Obo police officer, Advokc State. Opposed to something like, let's say, Ala in the ministry of local government, or let's say, the closest police station. Now, see, the closest police station to Ala is a Nobi. That's a police station, mine's a Nobi. And the OKTT. You see how many communities one police station is actually controlling. So, how many police officers called the game? Now that's one station. Now man, these 4 towns that I just mentioned now. I think it is even more than 4. But they say that the number of police officers saying can actually do the work of security.
But considering I be nobody organized per se, couldn't we have asked for? Oh no, I'm asking you a question. Couldn't we have asked for more force? More reinforcement from maybe police, more panel civil defense, more panel this other
ratio of one police
outlets.
If you take ratio of one police officer to citizens of Nigeria, you will be shocked at what the ratio is going to be.
Okay, so you're saying that you agree with the Agune Chamber security system.
It is not in Agune Chamber, or they cause us some vigilante be able Agune.
Bachomke agree so that again with Uche's perspective can nachia makanacho me nachia na dibia. If a dibia bo inekutun kata aine de lepa, got achom kaime to hanchaka. Egotago, I'm trying to kaime to hanchaka.
No, let me explain. A man say the security outfit that was formed by the state government, not just via an executive fiat. It is a law, which means that for that thing to still go away, it will still have to pass through the House of Assembly. Now there's a law establishing it. It means not something the lawful. Now, or the wrong they may establish. No, man, you can't be saying that. And like I pointed out,
maybe establish. I na wonder about or the viable. And I mean 4%.
No, only the simple Anambra kita na. That's again no to the insecurity before Agune Chamber. Kokade kita na. That person will be telling a bare-faced lie.
Okay. Oguche. Yes. It's na nyabo Agune Chamber movement. Got a seria kowala and if men like the arrangement.
So you have somebody who continually reinvents the wheels of something that is already existing. There was no need for all of those things, especially taking all this time, almost 4 years, before to come up with this. There was no need for it. And we'll go already criminal law, we'll go criminal code. There are all these things are in place. All you need is to provide them with the supporting system, the gadgets, the equipment, the support system, right? Provide these people with the support system, the right support. And we're vigilante, and we're community policing that is already in place, quote unquote community policing. Just leverage on the existing ones and provide them with the right support. That was what Soludo needed. But he never did that. He refused to, provide some of these enablements to the police, refused to provide them with the resources, receives security votes at every point in time, but has never deployed that resources to where it's supposed to go to. So when you do not do these things, it is clear that you are not really a serious person. Or you do not take
is it
policing.
easier to create this new avenue? Is it cheaper? Because I'm wondering.
Let me shock you. If you go check the pictures of the launching of the
Agone chamber, yes.
you will see the quality of vehicle that was in display.
The quality.
2005, 2003 vehicle. None of the vehicles in display, none of them can be said to be, up to date. When I mean by up to date, no vehicle in that, on display can do any form of modern way of tracking. Okay. None of them can enable certain digital application, right? How do you do such thing? Look at, for example, what you have with the DRS in Enugu. You see the digital mounting of the camera and the digital communication that transmits to their control room. Something like that. That's what you see in a place where somebody is actually thinking, or somebody is actually very serious with fighting security. So you bring out 2005, 2003 Sienna, refurbished, and hand them over to people that are not well trained, and they mount on it like touts, covering their face, operating like criminals. I have been involved. I've been a victim where these people have valeted, where I was eating in a restaurant, so I know how these people operate. So it is something that is so uncomfortable, so undesirable for young people. And when anybody but young person, the very if the legitimate, because again, there are people who do a lot of illegitimate things, right? That attract some of these guys, but they're already in place. I remember when SARS was there, but what happened? It was abused. A lot of people, a lot of extrajudicial killings happened. But when you look at what Soludo is doing right now, because I know many young people, brilliant minds that I have lost. My colleagues. When I mean losing them, I don't mean to death. I mean losing them to other states.
Okay.
People that I started with, I work with, that are very brilliant, that we always talk about how to build Anambra State, how to build from Anambra. But because of when the so-called insecurity architecture was being unveiled by Soludo, so many of them were waiting. Let me hear what Soludo is bringing so that we will know if we can stay or not. But as soon as the display happened, they sent me the picture of Kwefugonian. We don't have any hope here. So point is, we cannot continue to romance things like this with the flowery words that he's working because none are loser. When you are not taking something like this very seriously, I can from here tell you one or two things he could have done. In Aka, for example.
You'll get your chance. You will get your chance to advise the government. Another question, because and analyze Governor Soludo. The past 3 years on go to office, in dissect. So by so many things in go to Anambra. And the can more full. I'm looking at reaction on the mother kaina got ifane. It got to go nkebo dibia crackdown. It got to go whereby the governor imago wapatakwa ndigane na ali anya we na-etinyekwa anya na ndị na-eme ife a na-akpọ traditional spirituality igotago ana akwata na ndị anụnwa so we na-eme young people fa na-abanye na fraud na-eme ritual na-eme some very weird things, which is why the government is cracking down on this. How do you feel about the GBA? No, you won't. At least can you respond?
So let me tell you how crude Soludo is.
Tell me.
This issue, when it started happening, and I said to myself, you don't approach this type of situation. It's a very sensitive issue. Number one, it's an infringement upon their religion, right? Their way of worship. Everybody, it is enshrined within the constitution that you have right, of association and religion of worship and stuff. So, but Soludo there, may impose where order if they to Amande. Now, what I would have expected somebody of Soludo caliber, initially, when even before now, I've always said that, look, one of the ways to curtail some of these excesses, guiding principles, right? guiding principles. Where are the top traditionalists in Ala Igbo? Kedin de Pabo. Who are the traditional leaders in Ala Igbo? Kedin de Pabo. Sit down with them. And we have about social engineering, right? Somebody like Soludo could say, in forefront in socially engineering the minds of Ndi Igbo or the Anambra towards the right thing. Because if I make it now, bro, it's not solving any problem. You're just scratching the surface. And this surface level approach go say that now each of us go for Anambra, they could organize anywhere else. They could be anywhere and be doing what they're doing. Or they could do it, underworld without you knowing. But if I go have a brandish it in publicly, not too loud about it. Something that they could have utilized different strategy. Number one strategy they could have used was to engage, right? How do we curtail the excesses? How do we circumvent? How do we begin to know the real ones, and you have them in front of camera?
Okay.
Right? By the time you get the data of the people who are involved in this, you get the data silently. Everybody, if you want to operate, come and register silently. Then, and when that process of engagement, for example, before you open church is an NGO, right? You register NGO, there is a process for that registration. For you to also operate DBA, you should also go through the same lane. You implement it. And you ensure this thing is monitored. I was so stunned that I was watching social media video. For the governor saying, it's so laughable, but this is the kind of thinking that we have in the government's house. But this is not what should have happened. Because if I were them, I would have first off carried out, if I have any suspect at all, make the critical investigation to understand but if any malu eben milisi abani okubo malu ndi na eme ha be fe jide or a concrete evidence. Only the way of evidence. Each day that concrete evidence in way swing into action. Anybody is already liable. Because let me tell you something. Nani need there. Megide. Fine release. If you can find pan, that for hard to go government. Do you understand? And it will have a psychological effect on the people that you are trying to protect this thing from. Now, I saw it as a very careless decision from the people who are supposed to be in the know. And these are the things I make every single time using crude approach in effort to try to quote unquote to solve a problem. So, look at here, the Dibia crackdown. It's not a very good thing, because look at it this way. I am Igbo, right? And Dibia, well, significant on than our neighbor. Cracking down on Dibia is more or less cracking down on our culture, our way of life. Even if they are deviants, and we're deviants in even in Christianity, everywhere deviants. Even if there are deviants, method again those deviants. Provide it. We're supposed to walk ahead of these people. As a leader who have access to information, think ahead of every single person in your state. Now, in Meron, you are now criminalizing our way of life, making it. Do you know the message you are passing? Right? The message is a terrible message. You don't criminalize our way of life. What you do is criminalize people who have contravened a law you are going to set. Number one law, make sure that they registered. Right? Number two, make sure that the people who do this and do that, if there are places, for example, our water bodies, if it's going to be protected, you ensure that nobody goes there to desecrate it or do anything, right? You place a law. Now, all those things, he articulates here as a leader. He presents here to the state assembly, right? A way process. A way process of being guided by the law. So, you know, amazing. ọ bụrụ na ị na-eme but ọ bụrụ ịpụtara ime pronouncement na ị na-crack dibias ndị eze nwaanyị those things.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Thank you, Uche. Oga Chijoke, you seem to have something to say. It is time for you to respond, of course.
What my brother said about the crackdown clearly shows that he has not opened Anambra State Homeland Security law at all.
Oh yeah. Because you seem to have more information.
The first thing, one of the contents of that law is registration of Ndidibia.
Okay.
Another part of it is these things I'm going to mention now are in one segment of that law. One is revelation of identity of anybody who comes to lodge in a hotel. Revelation of identity of people who occupy your property as tenants.
Okay.
3, registration of any person who is involved in traditional religion practice.
Okay.
One of the things that this law states is that every single president general of the town union of every town must submit the biodata of every single person who practices in African traditional religion in your community.
Okay.
To the state government.
Okay.
Now, so for him to say that the government did not go through registration of
that's not what I said.
Wait. He said you suggest for them to register. It means you did not read the law at all. Because the law clearly states that any single person, the law states that the government is not against any person who practices traditional religion. The governor clearly stated it. The problem here is registration. There was a time the registered ones in Anambra actually protested against one of their members. But at the end of the day, it was found out that the woman in question did not complete her registration. What gave those registered ones the impetus to come and protest if they weren't properly registered? It means that the government is actually with every single detail of those people who are there. Now, the law is against the secretion of water bodies.
Okay.
And you say that the government is cracking down on the traditional practice in the state, which is not true.
But could you explain it? Because there's been arguments even on the social spaces where people are asking that if the traditional religious practices are expected to do these registrations and they are supposed to be given all this attention, they also brought in the Christian...
Which church is not registered?
You know, the Christians...
All the churches are registered. They are registered as non-governmental organizations.
Okay.
The government has their details.
Okay.
Now, another thing that might be funny is that we all know that the ill practice of African traditional religion is one of the enablers. People who practice it in an ill manner are one of the enablers of insecurity. You might choose to believe it.
Let's look at what you're saying.
Insecurity?
Yes.
Can you explain this detail to us so that we will understand?
Very well.
Yes.
He said something about cracking down on those people who the government have actually arrested.
Okay.
And how they are going to behave if they go through the government and come out and nothing happens to them. As I'm talking to you, those people have been charged to court.
Okay.
And the count charges against them have been read. It is in the public domain.
Okay.
If those people do not do anything and the proper investigation wasn't conducted, why is the government suing them to court? Will you sue somebody for something you are not sure that the person contravened or the person went against?
You don't understand what I mean.
He talked about going through a proper channel in profiling the people that are DBS. And I give you an example. The President Generals of every town union have been saddled with the responsibility of making sure they are with the biodata of every single person who is a DBA that is practicing African traditional religion in their various communities, to show you that the government is not against African traditional religion.
But you mentioned that they are somehow...
They are source of the crime.
Yes, in terms of...
the people who practice it in...
practices.
Who are practicing in an ill manner. I just give an example with one of them who has been charged to court by the government. if the person wasn't practicing in a real manner, why would the government charge the person to court?
Okay.
It's obviously no reason.
But some of the counts we've seen have more to do with money-related scandals than traditional related scandals.
Wait, now one of the things that we are looking at is what the person who poses to be an African traditional religion priest, Igibia, is doing. It is entirely outside what somebody who calls himself a priest of the African traditional religion should be doing.
Do you have anything you want to say, Oguche, before we finish from the
Well,
Dibia?
he just misquotes me just like he does every time. So the point I'm making really is that proactive measures, trying to get the results, instead of doing things in a crude manner and, creating confusion in the system. That's the point I'm making. When you, for example, at Kokoko, when you want to interrogate at Kokoko, you do your thorough investigation before you bring it into the media. And when you do that, you're able to have traces, right? You catch him unawares. There are people who are working with him that you are likely going to get, right? But once you put him in the media, they will disappear. You put him in the media before going to the, start the investigation and all of that. And that's the point I'm making.
Okay.
Right? When I point out these things, I tell you that this is the mode of oppression of Soludo that is, I find very detestful. Right? So I always talk about the fact that he doesn't do things like a modern person.
Okay.
So it's one of my browsers against him. So very first, I just added it.
Okay.
And that's my take on that. The crackdown on traditional worshippers,
yes.
the deviants, it's not done well, right? There are ways Soludo could have done it. I'm not saying that what these people are doing, especially some of them who are doing illegal things, especially things that are regarding blood, human rituals, or drugs, these things are evil. It's not our tradition, right? It's not our culture. It's not the way we do things. And there are also people who do not do traditional worship, who are not traditional worshippers that also engage in illegal things.
That is true.
But also attributing crime largely to this is such a very serious misdiagnosis. Let me tell you something. When people do not have faith in government, right, they seek faith in the church. And especially if the government fails them, right, the primary place where people seek faith, especially in the developed world, you see people don't pray, they don't go to church because they have their faith.
They don't have need for the church.
They have the faith in the government. The government is providing everything. So when people lose interest or faith in government, they beckon on the church, right? And when the church fails them, they seek for alternative, right? There's a reason why people are doing this. That is the causative. And when you misdiagnose, you're going to mistreat. And that's what Soludo is doing. So the causative factor, the things that are triggering or leading young people into this is actually joblessness, lack of opportunity, the bad governance, the reflection of the bad governance, the ihishike, let me put it that way. Yes. That's why people delve into those things. And so if you do not eliminate that and think somehow if you eliminate the outcome, the reflection, that you have totally solved the problem. You see, that shows the lack of sincerity. Because if an educated person who look at the action of Governor Soludo on this issue and listen to him say that he's doing it so that he will solve criminality, any educated person will know that it's actually not sincere.
Okay, thank you very much. So I like it. And I hope that our audience are actually, learning a thing or two from me. I know is in this our podcast. When before I letter Governor Soludo develop Peter Obi when election 2023. Imana Governor Soludo bụkwa former CBN governor. That was highly loved by ndị Igbo. Anyị afụkịa n'anya maka anyị dị very proud na nwanne anyị. Mgbanwe ọ bụ CBN governor na aṅụlịkwa maka sị na nwanne anyị nọkwa na federal ghọtago anyị wedịsịa proud. Ọ bụrụ ọkwa some a lot of people were very proud. Which is why mgbe ọ bịalụ ka ọ bụrụ governor na Anambra State mmadụ niile pụtakwa ịghọtago si na otu a Soludo considering ebe o si abịa na ọ ya enyela anyị aka ka Anambra Salọkụ ịghọtago ka ife niile na-aga aga ịghọtago mana mgbe Peter Obi pụtaziri ka ọ mee election nwanne anyị nwoke wee dee leta nke o tinyere na social media onye ọbụla wee na-afụ ịghọtago so anyị wee notice anyị nwa bụ ndị nta akụkọ wee notice na since o dee nya bụ leta no the ka love imago love anya anyị nwere ebe ọ na-abịa reduce onwe ebele imago nwa ebele the love adịchara ọsị so anyị wee na-ajụ ma leta ọ dị na 2023 does it have anything to do with imago public perception of Soludo?
Can I say that? Okay.
Yes, it has to do always to do with perception on the public.
Why?
Maka na anyị na-adị very very emotional. Anyị nọ na the southeast ndị Igbo.
Okay.
Anyị na-adị very very emotional rather than ịdị logical ma anyị na-eme politics. O nwere part of letter o kwuru na ọ bụrụ na ọnyanwa bụ Tinubu bụ Soludo na ọ ga na-eweta ego si n'azụ na-afọm the party Peter Obi nọ na ya. E nwere izu kpata o ji wee kwuo ife otu obodo a si wee dị anyị chọọ anyị ekwete anyị achọọ anyị ekwenye. Enwere ndị bụ na enwelere ife ọ ga-abịa satisfy ya to them or ife ahụ dị appealing to them. Mgbe ahụ ka iji wee nweta nwu ha atụọla gị vote ọkwa ifuru ndị ugwu ọ bụ na ha adịrọ sure na e-protect ha nwa bụ ndị ugwu a na-eprotectịrị ụka fa na-aga ọ ga-afịakwara inweta fa
ọ na nke a bụkwara sentiment and emotion.
Wait. I'm na-abịa. Ịma na ofe o kwuru bụ na o nwere njikọta ọ ga-abịa enwe ịzọ nwa prezidenti obodo a. Ndị mmadụ aghọtara mgbe ọ kọwa na Peter Obi enwero njikọ ahụ na ọ bụ na ọ nwee ya
mana ụfọdụ na-akọwa mana onye nwanne ya na-apụta ịbịa mee ife ịghọtago chọrọ ọgụ uche mma abịakwute gị na-ekwu ndị mmadụ na-akọwa maka ife a bụ feedback ndị mmadụ nyere anyị ka anyị ji wee kpekọtasịa ajụjụ a ịghọtago wee na-asị onye nwanne ya pụtara ime something like that ife dịka presidency makwa na anyị bụ ndị Igbo ihe presidency anyị etinyebekwa anyị aka na oge dị anya ịghọtago na obodo anyị etinyebere uche anyị n'ife gbasara presidency o wee lụzie ka nwanne anyị nwoke Peter Obi bịara ịbanye na the ten considering na ya na Governor Soludo so na the same state ịghọtago anyị nwa bụ ndị a na-akpọ onlookers nọ na-enekwa n'anya na ịmago nwanne na nwanne a ga-abịakwanụ together ka ama ka anya bụ ife ma ya work ịghọtago Soludo wee dezi anya bụ leta ịmaka ike wee bụ ma ndị kwesịrị itinyekwu aka ọ dịzịa ka ike abịazi bịagwuo onye ọbụla
chelo ka m gwụsịa nzasịa ịma o nwere ife Soludo lụtụgasịrị aka na leta ahụ
ife o metụrụ aka erika
o nwego ndị bịa na mmezu
o
nwego ndị bịa na mmezu nke ofu ife bịago na mmezu bụ na ọ dị ka o nwere ndị ha na Peter Obi nọ ọ bụla onye ọzọ ya na ya na-azọ ka fa na-alụrụ ọrụ because na ka e mesịrị election some of those people ga-arapụgo Peter Obi pụọ ha arapụghị ya pụọ because na ọ dị ka onye mmadụ anọ ebe ọzọ na-eweta ego na-etinye na pati Peter Obi nọ maka na ọ ma na onye etinye ego ebe a na onye ọ dị ya ka ọ ga-emelinwu ya na onye agha ma emelinwu ọzọ ya maka na ebe Peter Obi si wee pụta wee baa na Labour Party ọ dị ka o jidelu ife ndị mmadụ onye ndị ahụ ga-akọntrolu ka atụọla ha vootu ọ dị ka oziri ya ọ bụrụ ụzọ ịbụọ ka o gbubiri ya ụzọ o gbubiri ya karịrị ịbụọ and o welu nke kanụ n'ụzọ ahụ o gbubiri ya wee gaba mana ọ bụrụ na ife ahụ niile ndị m na-ewesakwala iwe bụ ndị melụ na Peter Obi enwetara tiketi under them.
But on a letter
ọ bụrụ na Peter Obi nọbụ ebe ọ nọ fechee anya n'uche fa welu tiketi nye ya o nwere ike leta a na-ekwu okwu ya ma mpụtara ọkwanụ ọma mpụtara ọdịchacha pụtara maka na ebe ahụ ọ nọ na ya o si ya wee kewalụ wee pụọ na ife ahụ o kwesịrị ijide ọ bụrụ na ijide ya ịdị obi aka gị na ize elekshọn na ị ga-ewin ya na ndị ahụ ife ahụ ọ rapụrụ onye ahụ o gbubiri pụọ obele ahụ ọ rapụrụ ebe ahụ o were ya tinye ma nke ahụ o gbubiri pụọ ịma na onye na-aza elekshọn arụ ga-afụkwa onye ahụ ezigbo ofu ma ọ bụ na nye nwa na ọma mmirigo onye ahụ mana ebe ahụ o gbuwara wee pụọ lele ya ife ahụ ọ kwesịrị ọ bụ na o ji n'aka owin elekshọn ujubizi
maka na ife nwanne mere ebe a
ọ bụrụ ife nwanne mere ife nwanne maka na ihe ahụ ọ rapụrụ ebe ahụ bụ atọfụ ndị ugwu ọ ga-abụ ọ bụ na o ji ọzọ elekshọn oge
Let me come in, please.
ngwa ọgụ uche ka ife ichere maka leta edelu na 2023
ọ bụrụ m izizi ya ọ bụrụ m ibu ya ọ na-ede leta eji leta wee mara ya onye edemede ka ọ bụ this is not the first time ọ na-ede leta and this is not the first time Professor Charles Soludo na attack one of our top politicians or leaders na Ala Igbo etu a ka esi ihe a before na-eme so mgbe o mere ya ọ dịrọ m surprise na o mere ụdị ihe dị etu ahụ kama na adịtụ m a little more disappointed. O mere Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, o mere Jonathan, o mere Dora Akunyili, ọzọ kịta o mere Peter Obi ya bụrụ ihe ọhụrụ ọ bụrụ ife ọfụ. So the content of the letter, if you look at the content alone, you ask yourself, why is he writing this? Then when you ask yourself that question, then you will now see the intent. The intent is filled with a lot of things. Hi, Jesus. Some of these things, everything I be known. So, mana, what do you call it? Don't they go later? And I give you I'm not really totally disappointed no the letter. I just felt that he should have concentrated more with the Anambra State on mismanage instead of writing letter because Obi Abia divert our attention. Kita na emuze kan dem na actually criticize here for his incompetence, his unmitigated failure in governance. Ozize ka makanya bi letter. Ka eji na ahwe o ya ko se with them because obuna na akowa maka how disappointed I am about his governance or his approach to governance. Nekwu ifo mere na nke o metero. Ndị mmadụ ga na-eche ọ maka na ọ dị leta na the letter ahụ dị na ya mere njiwe na ekwunya bụ okwu. So I don't want us to dwell on this honestly.
Okay.
Ima why?
Election na abịakwa.
Yes.
O nwere ajụjụ nchọrọ
Ima why? Ima why just I don't want to
election.
dwell on it. Us na part 2 ya abịa. So ka echere that part 2 ka ọ bịa. So mgbe part 2 ahụ bịara, anyị nwere ike tinye ọnụ. Mana kịta nsogbu adịrọ.
Voice of the East ka anyị nọ ya podcast anyị ka anyị na-eme wee na-etinye anya n'ife gbasalụ Anambra State na Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo ka anyị fụkene ka o si wee na-handle Anambra anyị na-enyocha ya na-enene ya isi n'elu isi n'ala ịmago na-enene ya mana nwere ofu nke nwa ịmago na-atụ m ka unu na-akọwa ife unu na-akọwa mgbe lọta na anyị nwere election na-abịa na 8th of November and ife a na-akpọ the powers that be na Nigeria kịta bụ APC. Ọ bụ ịkpọta m n'uche na apụgaba ife na-arụ ọrụ Anambra kịta mana ndị afọkwa na ya nwere ebe Kashim Shettima anya bụ vice president anyị nọ na-ekwu okwu wee na-asị na eme election a na Anambra State ịmago to use his words ọ sị na Anambra State ga-adị in the bag of APC ịghọtago mwa bịa check ya bịa fụ na ha na this APC ha na-win kwa election ine n'anya they seem to know how to win elections ịghọta the fact that they could unseat a 16-year standing PDP ịmago wapụfa na gọọmenti ine n'anya Ebonyi steeti abago n'anya bụ APC inenekwa anya Imo steeti abago n'anya bụ APC ịghọtago ọfọzịa Anambra na kedu Abia steeti ya na Enugu ịghọtago kịta Anambra na-achị ime election ajụjụ wee na ịmago ụmụ Igbo na-ajụ ajụjụ wee si biko wite otu ife si aga ịmago abịakwu bịa nene wee fụ na nwunye Ojukwu that is Bianca Ojukwu anyị bịakwu bịa fụ na APC gọọmenti bịakwu bịa nyekwuo ya obere appointment ịghọtago so ụmụ Igbo wee na-ajụ wee na-asị biko enwere any chance ma megide ife a na Anambra na November Anambra steeti wee ghọọ an APC steeti ọ dị possible
amarọ m mana ka nza aga ajụjụ a nke bụ eziokwu bụ na gọvanọ anyị Soludo ji ofu okwu wee nọ na apụga were nke ọzọ wee nọ na APC ihe nji na-ekwunye bụ ife bụ icheke that letter from that letter holder
nke dị na 2023
then plus the appointments emego at the federal level and most of the appointees are from Apga Anambra. The behavior of Soludo towards the political party Apga,
that is
Apga, is nothing to write home about. His body language when candidates from Abia State, Ebonyi states, Enugu states, tells the story. Can you remember exactly what Soludo did in Enugu states for the Apga candidates? Can you remember anything? Can you remember anything Soludo did for the candidates of Apga in Ebonyi? Can you remember anything? And when you know any candidates of Apga anywhere na Nigeria, Soludo they say we need to say so no vote na Apga bunka and that tells you the story, right? So Soludo amaram ihe ndị APC ji amaram ka ha si kwado maka na ejukwa m ijuo m abuche nwoko ye ma asị gị dat na enweghị ejikọ m na ndị APC ha nọrọ side ebe aka nna anọ ịghọtago enweghị ejikọ m na ha kefa na abịa ideologically Adam in our position, Adam in opposite direction of opposition, APC.
Of APC.
Ideologically.
Okay.
And in all principle, I will never, ever, be on their side.
But in your political calculations, I
don't back on the calculator.
Okay, you won't even bother with it.
Man, I put the calculator, my app was the calculator. So,
okay. Oga CJ. Achọrọ m ka eza m onye bụ ihe because abịa mbịa notice na candidate in the Labour Party na Anambra, that is Valentine Ozigbo. He moved to this APC a na-ekwu maka ya. Ịghọtago so the thing ga na-enye anyị worry. Ịghọtago ọ dị possible ma megide ife a na enwe ka esi mmekata mmadụ asị anyị na November na Anambra State abụrụgo APC state. Ka m uzukwa okwu Kashim Shettima also no in the bag. Anambra State adolo in the bag. So, do you think we have or the possible?
Election adịrọkwana otu election on other states.
Agwatakwa m nke a.
Otu anyị na ebe a, ọ nọ ka onye ọbụla bụ gọvanọ n'isi onwe. Na Anambra steeti ka ị ga-afọ onye bụ igwe. Ọma mgbe bụrụ ọnụ ụgwọ onye obodo ya si anya tụọ n'onye a vote ọsị unu na onye a kpịrị ga-atụrụ vote. Ekwu olile ife ahụ onye a ga-asị gị ọ gị na-enye m nri. Ọ bụrụ ndị soli anya Igbo asị na ndị Anambra dị Republican in nature. Now, the only thing I can tell you bụ na ọ ga-adị extremely very difficult for APC in Anambra State.
Okay, the difficult.
Yes.
Okay.
This election ga-adị ka 2017 election Obiano. If not, we can do 21/21.
Aye. Okay.
And 21/21 for Soludo. And if a batan Jew put the same one. I want a local governments in Anambra State in the feeling the impact of this government.
Okay.
You got the effort.
Okay.
Oboro na oboro godo maru the infrastructure. Oboro human capital development. Oboro education. Each local government see benefits most. Obolo, if you come down to the name business, Anambra na top 5 of ease of doing business among states in Nigeria.
Ease.
Yes.
Is you.
Transparency government, Anambra be number 1 in the whole of Nigeria. Anambra State government, the contract, I can give you go now to the very last couple, the contract they want. Oga fear if any other states in anything like that.
Ụmụnne ebe a ka podcast anyị a ya kwụsị tata. Mana ana m ekene unu daalụnụ maka isonyere anyị na ya bụ nkata